face it, not everything you make in art is great. Sometimes you have good days, and sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes your art is excellent, and other times your art sucks.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this new video. In this latest video of Your Art Sucks, we're going to take a look at another piece because I got a bunch. So there's a lot for us to look through, to nitpick, and to analyze. And in the previous video, in the series, we saw Daredevil, and in this one we're going to see Ghost Rider. Yeah, this is another one of these old ones from way back in 2019. Just to give you an idea of what was going on, I was coming back into drawing, and this is like the first few months of me learning how to ink, because I had never inked before, and so this is like 6 months into it. This is the date here is backwards. No, the 12 is the day and 6 is the month, so this is in June. And so yeah, so I had like about roughly 6 months of like just learning how to ink, you know. So all this stuff is super amateurish, like really early stuff. And so I was still discovering, like trying to learn how to best ink, because I had no idea what proper inking techniques there were, if any. That plus also my own level at the time, which was not the best, so it just made for a bunch of these crappy pieces. and yeah, so we'll take a look at all this and we'll see what's where the mistakes are at. Now, after seeing some of the previous videos, I think you guys can get an idea of what kind of mistakes I'm going to run into. There's some of the classic things like line weights and proportions. Line weights and proportions. So I'm just jotting this down because it's just some of the typical mistakes that I had from back then. In terms of, but this piece is unique in the sense that we can't really analyze proportions too much because of the pose itself. Just to explain what this is, if you can't make it out, let's take a look at it from, all right. Just in case if you can't make out what the heck is going on in this is his motorcycle. This is the Ghost Rider motorcycle here, and then that's his foot on the pedal thingy, and then he's leaning towards the camera, you know, with the chain in hand, and the chain is supposedly coming at the viewer. This part of the motorcycle is right on the viewer, and so he's like screaming at the viewer, you know. So while he's supposedly driving, and so they got the flames in the background, the flames of the motorcycle. Then you have these speed lines, and like he's coming, you know, at you supposedly. And that was the idea and the logic behind it. But the execution wasn't as good as it could have been. You know? So that's what's happening. So according to the pose, it's not really, you don't see like the figure. Let me see. I'm gonna try my best to keep my hand away from the camera because it messes up like the zoom, like it doesn't focus right. So I'm trying to keep my hand away as much as possible. But yeah, we don't have an actual figure, to see, you know, like if his legs are at the right length. We don't have anything. You know, we don't have any of this stuff here. So it's not like he's standing. You know, so he's leaning into it. So all we have is just his head. We have his head. We have his torso like this. We have the shoulder pull back a little bit. And then we have his knee going down into his foot, and then got this being covered by the motorcycle. Now you have the arm. And so we got this kind of thing going on. And he's looking dead at you like here. Look, this sketch is a whole lot better than but that's the kind of thing we got, no? So we can't really analyze proportions too much just from this. I mean, technically you can also because, for example, no, I know just from studying that John Buscema piece, that from the knee to the ankle, it should be 2 heads. No, so you can use that kind of measurement here. I can measure this and see if it's 2 heads or not, to make sure that this knee here, this knee to the ankle part, make sure this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to. I know that from the top of the shoulder to the bottom of the wrist, there should be 3 heads here. So I can probably measure that out. I mean, there's maybe some kind of way that I can measure it out, but it's not your normal traditional way of like counting out the heads from the top to the bottom. There's not really a lot of that going on here, so it's a little bit difficult to interpret. And yeah, so if you look at it just right off the bat, you can see his head, the head size. If you were to put 3 heads, there's no way you would get this. No, this knee to the thing is completely short. It's like it's like it got cut off. Like his knee to his ankle is about that. It's just that. So it's really horrible. So I mean, that's those are it makes it a little bit difficult to analyze. But some of the things that we can look at are, for example, rendering, and rendering I think will be probably the biggest issue with this, in my opinion, for me at least. Just the biggest issue, and then proportions. Yeah, you can. Gesture drawing would be another one I would do. Gesture drawing in the sense that just by doing this sketch here, you can see, I have this action. I have, for example, I have the head, and I have his body swinging back this way. So I can put the shoulder here. I can continue following that line of motion with the ankle and bring it back this way with the hand. Now, there's a lot more going on like that. If I were to draw him and then curve this part, the top part of the torso that way, there's a lot more motion there. And then this counters. I have my knee here. My knee can follow this line and then help counter with it. So that pose just by itself is a lot more dynamic, than what I have here. Now here it's very linear. I got the head. I'm trying to do this by putting the shoulder back a little bit. I'm trying to do that, but I don't fully commit to it. It's just like the head and the shoulders like horizontal, like it's right there. And then this arm bends in a really strange way. It's not. It's because it's just like down a little bit, and then it curves up like that. So it's like this, and then up, and then I got my hand. So there's not a lot of motion there. You compare that, for example, to this. You can see where the motion flows in here. No. So this is something that you will pick up on if you were studying gesture drawing. Gesture drawing is super important. Super important. All of the pros recommend it. I think the biggest proponent is Brett Booth. He recommends gesture drawing all the time. And you can tell in his work, for example, that his work is full of energy. I mean, he can just draw a character sitting there, and it's like there's energy to that. And so, look at Brett Booth, study his work. There's a lot of energy in his work. And I'm trying to think of other people that could possibly, but it's a good starting point. Look at Brett Booth's work, and then gesture drawing he does very, very well. And I like Kenneth Rocafort's also. He's got a good use of of energy, and just motion. Also, I recommend take a look at his. Also, Aaron Lopresti. I think his work is like just pure gesture drawing. Like he just draws things in motion, acting, reacting, really good stuff. Take a look at their art. Take a look at how the figures move. You know, that's a good reference to notice how figures and bodies move, especially in comics. You know? So it's super important to have that. Yeah, so I think if you look at their work, it will be a good idea. It'll be a good starting point, and so you see how the bodies and figures move and whatnot. So definitely check that out. So yeah, gesture drawing is one thing that we could definitely use to improve this piece. And yeah, so gesture drawing, and then my second thing would be I don't know what to call this, but I mean I guess just bad drawing. Like the thing that keeps sticking out to me, for example, is this armor here. Like supposedly there's like this piece that's over the clothing, but I have this horrible thing here, right here. Take a look at that. Got this horrible thing here, or I don't make any different. I don't differentiate whether or not it's one object on top of another one, or if it's just like a straight. I don't know if I can give you an example. But let me see. I'll draw something. Let's imagine that I don't know. Here's I draw. Let's imagine that I have this object, or whatever it is, just like a solid object here, and I got like something wrapping around it. Something similar to this. That object has to be on another. It can't be. You can't draw it like this. If I have something and I have an object on it and it's like that, I can't draw it like this. This doesn't read as there's some kind of thing on top of another object. This reads as like it's like a design element or something on this particular object. So it doesn't. There's a lot lost there. You know? It doesn't read that. But if you do something like this. If you do something like this, then you can see that there's some object on top of another object. You can tell that by this. Now you can further enhance that by putting shadows in correct places. You can further enhance the idea that there's something there. There's something there. You can further enhance that. But this I didn't. I took this kind of approach to it, which is not something you should do. That's wrong. You don't do that. I should have took an approach like this, and then on top of this, I draw a spike. However you want to draw it. And draw another spike. I draw another one here. And this helps. This helps with giving a. This helps with giving 3D, like giving space, in a 3D environment. It helps with that. A little bit of red right there. A little bit of shadow that helps sell that. So there's things you can do, to make it seem like there's something there, but there's nothing I did here. I just did something like that, and so that looks horrible there. It looks horrible here also. Considering the angle, this should not look the way it does. Also, the hand is completely placed in a very unnatural, awkward position. Like it should be the forearm that leads into the hand, and the hand should be about here. But what I got going on here is like. Let me try to position it right. So it should be like the forearm, and then it takes you into the hand, and then the hand's holding the chain. something like that. It should be something like that, but I got this thing going where it's like it's like a downward curve like this, and the hand is like way up here. So I don't know what the heck I did. I don't know if I was trying to make it dynamic. I have no idea, but it's horrible. It looks horrible. And one thing that I do, and so yeah, just looking at that, those things need to be improved. Like the spikes here, here also, here in this part of the leg. This part looks a little bit okay, but that could also be improved. Also, the hand in relation to the head is immensely big. My only logic to that, sorry about the noise. My only logic to that is that the hands should be closer to the camera angle. But then if you think about it that way, then why would his hand be positioned behind his shoulder? So it's it's a mess. This is just a big old mess. And yeah, so that's horrible. Just gotta keep just gotta be mindful of that all the time. And then here, for example, this is a super bad problem here. I have a tangent. Now that I'm looking at it, I have the bottom of his finger, which is this. Then I have his arm leading into his hand, which is like this. And then I have the chain coming out from the bottom of his hand, which is like that. And this creates a mega, I'm just looking at it just now, like, wow. And here's the chain, so you can see where I'm looking at. There's the chain, and I'm creating right here, in this space here, I'm creating some kind of super tangent. Like, so you don't know what's like, you don't know if the chain is further closer to the viewer, or if the arm is closer to the viewer. Like, you have no idea what the heck is going on here. Is the chain behind his arm? You can make an argument for that. Is the chain behind his arm, then he wouldn't be grabbing it. Oh man, so it looks horrible in that case. You should never have tangents. Tangent is like, for example, a tangent is when you draw something and then you draw another object next to it, or whatever, and the lines touch each other in such a way that they look like they're next to each other. And that is horrible in an art, because what you want to do is create the illusion that things are not together like that, but rather that things are in space like this, one object in front of the other. But when you have tangents, you create the illusion that they're next to each other like that, and it completely destroys the art, which is exactly what's happening here. And here, for example, it should be the arm in the background, the chain that Ghost Rider's holding, and then they should be able to notice that the chain is closer to the viewer than the hand. But no, here I've created a horrible tangent, what makes it seem that everything is just like together. And if you look at it, you could even make the argument that the chain is behind the arm, and so that's just horrible altogether. It breaks the notion of reality. The perception of depth is just completely destroyed by that. And so that's horrible. So for example, just to give you another example, like, let's imagine I have this, and I have I don't know. This usually happens also, like, when in art, like with moons. And like, if you were to draw a moon in the background, but then you draw the moon in such a way where it touches this and touches this, something like that. If you look at that, there's no way you can tell that this shape here is thousands of miles behind this pipe looking thing. That creates a tangent. That's a tangent right here. So that's horrible. It creates a tangent here also. So tangents, super bad. Solutions to tangent is really simple. Things have to overlap. Everything always has to overlap. If you're drawing something and you feel like, I want to put a building here, For example, working on this piece, like, I want to put a building here, then the building in the background, obviously, and then you draw the line in the building, and the building does this thing where it's like, and it touches like that. Never go forward with that. Like, if you see that that's happening while you're doing your pencils, then no, there's two things, or you can push You can push the building further back and then have that line go like this, crossing the character. Even so, you have to be careful here because you can put a tangent, so maybe push it further back, or you can push it the other way and just keep it completely separate. You know? There's two things that you can do with that. You can just push the line either way, and it'll help you not make that huge mistake. You know? So that's a problem that we have here. You know? So we have just the drawing here looks horrible. Gesture drawing because there's no line of motion. So I just put this here. Put gesture drawing. What kind of a perception of depth? No, that's not perception of depth. What would you call that? I don't know. Depth and shapes? I don't know. But when I'm talking about this, I'm referring to this mistake that I made here. This mistake that I made here. So I don't know what you would call that. Any art gurus out there that want to tell me? And then number 3 is tangent. Tangents are a big no-no. Big no-no. Yeah, tangent is anti-drawing because drawing, like the idea of drawing is that you want to put objects and you want to create this illusion of space and depth. You know, tangents completely destroy all of that. So never do. Please be very careful with your tangents. I think nothing will destroy your artwork more than making tangents. You know? All right, so that's it. Pretty much that wraps it up. Just those mistakes. You know, please do your figure drawings, gesture drawings. Study those. Take a look at these 3 artists to get an idea of how figures move. Don't be lazy with your drawing also, and then do things like this. Try to give it a little bit of depth. And you saw how I drew this live, so you can see how you can do that. And then please be careful with tangents. And yeah. And you can also make an argument for the rendering. The rendering is horrible, but I mean, there's things here that you can distinguish. For example, the bike, all black, yes, and then anything that's all black is in reference to the bike, except for his eyes. So I mean, the black on the bike that's how it's rendered. So you could tell that anything that's got this black is the bike. That's the bike. His clothes have this sketchy effect, and so you see the sketchy effect consistent all the way on the pants and all the way here. So it's consistent fairly. So you know that that's his clothes. There's nothing else in the drawing that has this similar type of rendering, so you can tell that this is specifically his clothes. There's a different kind of rendering with a finer line on his boot here and on his hand. So you can tell that whatever material the hand and the boot is, that's the same. There's also a different kind of rendering for the chain. So you can see the chain rendering here, the same chain rendering on this side. There's minimal rendering here, with the explanation being that this is in the back, so it doesn't need that much detail. So that's good. Fire, not really rendered, just drawing a bunch of flames here. That's consistent throughout. So I mean, yeah, the rendering is not my personal favorite, but it's done in such a way where it's passable. Like you can understand what's going on. And, you know, it would have been a bigger issue, for example. If the way that I did this sketchy thing on the clothing, if I had done that for everything that I was doing, if I had done sketchy on the bike, or sketchy on the boot, sketchy on the chain, or sketchy in the flame, that would have been a mess with rendering. Because part of the rendering is drawing things in such a way that they read as different kinds of material. Like this is a shiny metal surface, this is a leather surface. It doesn't look like leather, but that's the idea. This is the chain surface, and then each surface should be rendered differently. So there's that. The rendering here, for example, is horrible. This is supposed to be like a shiny metallic surface. It's horrible rendering, but this is the only place on the bike that has this kind of rendering. So if you wanted to say that this is shiny, then you can interpret it as such because this is the only place where it's got that type of rendering. So that's it's a pretty lame way to justify it, but that's it's consistent with the drawing. So I don't get into the rendering too much on this because it's not that bad. It's not that bad in the sense that it's horrible, but it's just not that bad in the sense that it doesn't really. You can read it. It's readable, but it's still bad. And so yeah. So that's also another issue. And that's it. So I hope you like the video. I hope you like Ghost Rider. He's a really cool character. I'm sorry I did him so wrong. But yeah, so that's it. That's it for this video. Thank you very much. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. Please share the video out. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My name is Elliot Rodriguez. I am an amateur artist. I'm learning as you guys are. But I've been published. I've been doing comics, drawing comics and stuff. I'm working on my own comic, and so I'm learning. And the idea with these videos is to show the viewer the mistakes that I've made before and how I've learned since then, since 2019, how I've learned to improve on on these different things. So that's where I'm at now. You can see my art also on Instagram at Elliot Rodriguez Art. You can see my art on Twitter. I'm currently I just wrapped up my piece for the Spawnuary contest. I'm going to be showing it off this week sometime. And yeah, you can see in the community tabs some of my artwork. I'll be posting more artwork up. And I'm not a pro by any means, but there are things and concepts that I have studied that I think is worthy to share with everyone. So just take it for that. And I'm just showing you things that I learned from art. But obviously I'm not a pro. I'd always recommend pros to show you exactly how they do it, how they do it much better, But yeah, so I just tried my best to show what I have learned, and show you how I approach specific things in art. And so yeah, so if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, share it out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll be posting more of these. I know you like these videos, and so I'm really excited that you like this content, and so I will be bringing you more. And that's it. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Take care.
Hello, everyone. The time is finally upon us. Ominous Avenging Death is now available. Avenging Death is a short 10-page story that serves as a preview of what kind of art you can expect and the world you'll see in the main story of Ominous. In Avenging Death, we'll see Zadok take on the monstrous Deathmonger in a 10-page fight scene that'll be sure to get you hooked into the world of Ominous. All of the artwork is done, including the line art, which was done by me, the colors, which were done by Emmanuel Orlas, and the lettering, which was done by Paul Bird. So grab your copy of the digital PDF file today for only $5. That's right, $5. Contact me in my DMs on Twitter for more information. Now, coming up next is the official trailer of Ominous Avenging Death. Enjoy.